The cross-family dining room had never been this silent. My father's voice, usually booming with authority, cracked sharply through the phone. But the food never arrived. Around the long table draped in linen, 20 relatives sat frozen, staring at empty plates. The golden centerpiece gleamed mockingly, once a symbol of celebration, now just a hollow reminder of what wasn't happening. Across the table, Aunt Carla's eyes flicked up and around, that moment of dawning realization settling in. Meanwhile, I was 300 meters away, leaning against the kitchen island in my Asheville apartment, sipping cider. "Oh," I said, calm and collected, "I assumed you didn't need anything from me." Silence, thick, stunned silence. Then whispers began. My mother's voice floated faintly from the phone. "What do you mean by that?" Confusion mixed with disbelief. The same family that excluded me from the table didn't hesitate to accept the catering bill I'd paid weeks ago. I'm Melanie Cross, 38, the eldest daughter, forever the family's errand runner, unpaid therapist, and bank. Thanksgiving had always been sacred, not for warmth or togetherness, but for the show. A polished surface hiding years of favoritism and unspoken grudges. Growing up in Raleigh, I wasn't part of the family, I was staff. My younger siblings were cherished. I handled carpools, bandaged scraped knees, and ensured homework was done. When I left for college, I thought maybe, finally, I'd earned my place at the table. I was wrong. The betrayal came a week before Thanksgiving 2024. My aunt posted a cheerful, "Can't wait to see everyone," in the family group chat. I replied quickly, "Same here, looking forward to it." Nothing. Hours later, my cousin messaged me privately, "Wait, you're actually coming? Mom and Dad told everyone you weren't invited." My chest tightened. I called my mother, confused. She danced around the truth before admitting, "We're keeping it small, just immediate family." "I'm immediate family," I said, voice tight. "Look, we thought it'd be easier, less tension." There was no tension, unless you count me finally refusing to cover my brother's car repair. Or declining to pay off my sister's wedding debts. Everyone else was invited. My siblings, their spouses, even distant cousins. Except me. Fine. I may have been left out, but they still swallowed the cost of their feast. Only later did it hit me, Dad had asked me to chip in. But I hadn't just chipped in. I'd paid it all. The turkey, the sides, the desserts. I placed the orders myself, from Maple Pine, the butcher Mom loved. And Sweet Laurel Bakery, her favorite for pumpkin cheesecake. All under my name. They hadn't just forgotten me, they'd used me. I made 2 calls. First to the butcher, who quickly refunded the order. Then the bakery, who hesitated, but relented when I sent the receipt. And then I waited. I knew exactly how this would unravel. Thanksgiving Day, 12:17 p.m. Dad's name flashed on my phone. I let it ring 4 times before answering. The food never came, he said, panic creeping into his voice. Behind him, chaos, murmurs, whispers, Mom's voice rising in frustration. I tilted my head, feigning concern. "Oh, maybe check with whoever placed the order?" "You placed the order," he snapped. "Did I?" I replied. I let the silence stretch, long enough to sting. "Well, I didn't think you needed anything from me, you didn't respond." An hour later, a text from my cousin spelled it out. No turkey. No desserts. Every store in Asheville and nearby towns, closed or sold out. My sister brought a new boyfriend she wanted to impress. She ended up crying in the guest room. Mom locked herself in the bathroom. Dad sat silent while Uncle Ron asked loudly, "Wait, wasn't Melanie bringing the turkey?" The room fell silent. Then the whispering started. 3 days later, a group text from Mom, "We really missed you at Thanksgiving, hope we can put this behind us." Not an apology. Just a rug to sweep everything under. I said nothing. Aunt Carla called the next day. "A lot of us confronted your parents," she said quietly, "they needed to hear it. But Mom never liked consequences." Sure enough, by week's end, a new story was circulating. I was unstable, dramatic, sabotaging Thanksgiving on purpose. Dad called twice before I finally picked up. "I don't know what you were trying to prove," he said, voice tight with restrained anger, "but you embarrassed your mother." I laughed, sharp and loud. "Funny, I thought she didn't want me there." His sigh was theatrical. We made a mistake, okay? But what you did was low. Lower than uninviting your own daughter after she paid for the entire meal? My voice rose. You should have said something. You're being dramatic, he said, as if that would shut me down. It wasn't a big deal. My pulse hammered in my ears. It was to me. Not a big deal? I snapped. Then why are you calling me about it, Dad? I hung up, hands trembling so badly I nearly dropped the phone. My whole body buzzed with rage and grief. That night, my cousin Riley texted. You officially started a war. Apparently, Mom was already spinning her version. How I'd always been difficult. How this just confirmed it. Christmas loomed like a storm cloud. I had no plans to go. Not until Aunt Carla called. She's telling everyone you're too fragile for family, she said carefully, that you're skipping Christmas because you can't handle conflict. And your dad? He says he tried to fix it but you're just being stubborn. I gripped the phone until my knuckles whitened. No way were they rewriting my story. Christmas Eve 2024. I arrived late to my parents' house. The Asheville air was sharp with winter cold. The moment I stepped inside, it was like someone dragged a needle across a record. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Mom's face froze. Dad paused mid-sip of his bourbon. My sister blinked like she'd seen a ghost. Hey, I said casually, pulling off my scarf with a smile. Merry Christmas. Mom finally found her voice. Oh, you made it. Of course, I said sweetly, wouldn't miss it. Then I stepped aside, revealing my surprise guest. My grandmother, her mother. Mom's face drained of color. Years ago, they'd had an irreparable falling out. Mom tried to erase Grandma from our lives. But I never stopped seeing her. Grandma was horrified to hear about Thanksgiving. When I asked if she wanted to come to Christmas dinner, she didn't hesitate. Oh my, Grandma said, stepping inside with exaggerated wonder. It's been ages. Such lovely decorations, dear. Mom looked like she might faint. Dinner was tense, perfect theater. Grandma poked at the stuffing and said brightly, oh, is this store-bought? Tastes very consistent. I bit my cheek to keep from laughing. A week later, strange messages trickled in from cousins and distant relatives. Heard there was a misunderstanding. You okay? Others more pointed. Didn't think you had it in you to be that cruel. Aunt Carla clued me in. Mom's telling everyone you had a breakdown, she sighed, that you're unstable. Christmas proved it. I laughed bitterly. Unbelievable. But not surprising. If Mom taught me anything, it was that truth threatens those who need control. If you've ever been the black sheep at holiday dinner, or found strength standing alone, don't miss what happens next. Subscribe to follow Melanie's journey as family secrets unravel and quiet revenge becomes lasting power. The realization hit hard. Mom wasn't just embarrassed. She was threatened. I'd exposed her, and now she was rewriting history to paint me unstable. If she discredited me, she wouldn't have to face the truth. She wouldn't have to be wrong. I called Grandma. She didn't sugarcoat it. Your mother's been calling around, saying she's worried about you, that you're not well. I laughed, bitter. You know that's not true, right? My dear, Grandma said firmly, I knew that before she even opened her mouth. That night, sitting on my couch, lit only by the soft glow of my Christmas tree, I typed a message to the family group chat. Hey everyone, just wanted to clear up some confusion. I'm doing great, no breakdowns, no drama. It's been an interesting holiday season, but I'm genuinely in a good place. Hope you all are too. Wishing everyone a happy new year. Short. Neutral. Impossible to twist. The digital version of smiling and waving while Mom's lies turned to ash. Then something I hadn't expected happened. My brother Ethan texted. Hey, can we talk? We hadn't spoken in months. I called immediately, heart pounding. His voice was softer, uncertain. Look, I don't agree with what Mom did. I blinked. You don't? She's good at twisting things. Thanksgiving felt off, but Christmas, that was when it clicked. I stayed quiet. I didn't say anything, he added, because, well, you know how she gets. Yeah, I said gently, I know. He paused. I'm not saying I handled it well, but I don't think you're crazy, not even close. My throat tightened. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear that. Until the tears came. Something had shifted. First Carla. Then Grandma. Now Ethan. Mom's grip was loosening. I nearly ignored the call, but some mix of curiosity and old wounds made me answer. Hello, her voice was cold. We need to talk, in person. About what? I asked. A pause. Then, your little stunt humiliated me. There it was. Not hurt me, not let's talk, just humiliated me, still all about appearances. Sunday dinner, 6 o'clock, she clipped, your father and I expect you here. And then she hung up. I almost didn't go, but Aunt Carla called. Just hear them out, she urged. You don't have to forgive them, but make them say it to your face. So Sunday evening, I pulled up to my parents' house again. The tension hit me the moment I stepped inside the dining room. It was heavy, almost physical. Dad stood stiff near the end of the table, hands clenched too tight. Mom sat at the head like a judge awaiting trial, arms crossed, mouth tight, eyes sharp. My sister pretended to be absorbed in her phone. Ethan sat on the edge of his seat, glancing nervously between us all. Mom exhaled hard. Do you have any idea what you've done? I tilted my head. Which part? Canceling the turkey? Bringing Grandma to Christmas? Or the fact that people stopped believing your version? You're so dramatic, she spat. Dad stepped in, voice low but tense. Your mother's hurt, and you've done nothing but make her look bad. She made herself look bad, I said calmly. I just stopped covering for her. Mom's face flushed. The truth? She hissed. You mean your version? Because in my version, you abandoned your family, refused to let go of the past, and took revenge over a simple misunderstanding. Or standing, I said, the word sharp as glass. You didn't invite me, you let me pay for the food, then pretended I didn't exist. We never meant to exclude you, she snapped. We thought it would be easier, less tension, then you made it worse. You told people I was unstable, tried to destroy my credibility. You embarrassed me, she shot back, eyes blazing. Then Ethan spoke. Mom, he said quietly but firmly, you did exclude her. You told everyone she wasn't coming. You let her pay for everything. That was wrong. Mom turned to him, eyes flashing. Oh, don't you start too. But Ethan didn't back down. No, you crossed a line. You always do when you feel cornered. Dad shifted uncomfortably. We should have handled it differently. Mom narrowed her eyes. What does that mean? He hesitated. Maybe she has a point. The room stilled, but I wasn't done. You didn't just leave me out, I said. You tried to paint me as unstable. You called relatives and said I was having a breakdown. Why, Mom? And then she said it, because I was embarrassed. Silence fell. She blinked like she hadn't realized the truth until it spilled out. I didn't know what to say when people asked. It snowballed. I didn't want to be the villain. So, you made me the villain? I said quietly. She didn't answer. Beside her, for the first time in my life, I saw Dad look at her like he didn't recognize the woman sitting at the head of the table. Ethan sat still, jaw clenched. Across from me, my sister, quiet until now, muttered under her breath, wow. And just like that, the truth settled over the room like thick snow. The lies, the manipulation, the selfishness, all exposed and undeniable. For the first time, I saw Mom clearly. Not as an untouchable matriarch, not some all-powerful force, but a woman so terrified of being wrong she'd rather destroy her own daughter than admit it. I stood up. I'm done, I said, steady and sure. I don't need an apology. I don't think you're capable of giving a real one, but I need you to understand, I'm done. Mom flinched like I'd struck her. Wait, no, you don't get to walk away like that, she snapped. You did this, I said firmly. You shut me out. When people noticed, you rewrote the story. You made me the villain because you couldn't handle the truth. Her lips parted but nothing came out. I turned to Dad. I appreciate you tried, but you let it happen, and that hurt, too. He didn't respond, just looked down at his folded hands. I looked to my siblings. My sister blinked, face tight with guilt. I should have said something sooner, she said softly. Ethan nodded. Me, too. It didn't fix anything, but it mattered. In the weeks that followed, I created distance. Mom sent shallow texts, can we move past this? I left them on read. Aunt Carla checked in regularly, her support constant. Grandma sent a handwritten letter full of warmth, telling me how proud she was I stood up for myself. But the real surprise was Ethan. One evening in mid-January, he texted, want to grab coffee? We met at a quiet cafe in West Asheville. We talked for nearly 3 hours. I think I spent so long trying to keep the peace, he said. I didn't realize how much damage she was doing. Yeah, I said softly, I get it. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't alone. Not anymore. If you've ever been the scapegoat in your own family, the one who sees the dysfunction while everyone else clings to illusion, then you know this feeling. The hollow ache. The constant questioning. The heartbreak of being told you're the problem just for setting boundaries. You've heard it all. That never happened. You're too sensitive. Stop making everything about you. Standing up to that isn't easy. It's terrifying. But sometimes the most powerful thing isn't forgiveness. It's refusing to play your assigned role. The empty chair at their next Thanksgiving table? That won't be my shame. That will be my peace. And if you're still nodding along, maybe it's time to ask yourself, which tables nourish you? Which ones keep you starved for love you'll never get? If you've been silenced, sidelined, or labeled for standing your ground, drop a comment. I want to hear your story. Support matters. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. Choose respect over obligation. If this resonated with you, hit subscribe. Melanie's journey might be over, but yours may just be beginning.